All right, so today, my question for you, Derek, is...
All right.
You and I both, we've talked about this, we both like Westerns. Like, we like a good Western. What is your favorite Western?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot like that.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about it at the end of the episode. So.
yeah. All right. Give me a chance to think about it. I like it.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on
as we race our bikes from the top of the hill
right down memory lane.
Exchange those quarters because this podcast takes tokens.
Okay, here we are today. We're going to be talking about, we're going to be going, like the question was at the beginning of the episode there, we're going to be talking about Westerns, and one in particular that I remember watching a ton growing up. It is the 1995 Western, The Quick and the Dead, released February 10th, 1995. Directed, I did not realize this until I was watching this again. Sam Raimi directing this movie.
I saw that whenever it came up. I was like, really?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he wrote it, but he did direct it, and I can tell watching it.
He directed
it, yeah. It's got that Sam Raimi sort of flair to it, except there wasn't.
Yes.
He should have figured out a way to shoehorn in the... what's that car?
The chainsaw?
No, yeah. The car that he has in like a lot of his movies. It's in Evil Dead.
Oh, I didn't know there's a car thing.
It's the car that's in Evil Dead. It's the car that Uncle Ben drives.
The same car, doesn't he?
I can't remember what the name of it is. It's in, and then there was another movie. Was it Death Proof or something? Maybe Tarantino did Death Proof.
Death Proof was a Tarantino one, yeah.
There was like one, I thought there was like, didn't they do like a double feature or something? There was Death Proof and, I don't know.
Oh, and yeah, there was the opposite end of Death Proof. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of the movie.
Oh, no, wait a minute. That's not it. Drag Me to Hell. That was it. It's in Drag Me to Hell.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, but there's several movies that Sam Raimi's done where he has that vehicle in there. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the name of the vehicle is, but he should have shoehorned that vehicle into this movie somehow. It could have been like, I don't know, they find it in a cave and it's got an out of time license plate on it.
It's got a time machine strapped to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Oh, yeah. So, Quick and the Dead, starring Gene Hackman, Leonardo DiCaprio, Sharon Stone, and
young Leonardo
Russell
DiCaprio.
Crowe. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he was like he looked like he was fresh off of like What's Eating Gilbert Grape or something after this. I can't remember when that movie
He
released.
couldn't have been. So he was born in 1974, and this came out in 1995 or 1996.
95.
So he's still like 21, 22 when this thing's made
when
or
it
comes
released,
out.
he probably...
It doesn't look like it. He looks like he's 12.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does. He looks super young in this. I remembered him being in it, but then watching it again, I was like, wow, he does look... He looks...
So you watch this one a lot?
I used to watch it. I used to watch it a lot.
Really?
I don't know if we owned it at Dad's house, but our stepmother Pam, she would watch this a lot, and I remember several times I would come and like sit down in the living room and watch it with her. Now I don't remember if it was like they had recorded it, off of TV or what, but I remember watching it multiple times with her.
Mm-hmm. I remember this one being kind of a big deal when it came out. Like, it was kind of a big movie, and there was a lot of talk and hype around it. I remember seeing the posters in all the movie store or the video stores and everything like that. And there was a lot of publicity for it. I think I saw it once, maybe back in the day, but I haven't seen it since.
I remember watching it so much that I would like reenact some of the scenes with my action figures. So that tells you I've watched it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm looking at the box office, and you watched it more than most people.
What was the box office? I didn't pull that.
It had a budget of $32 million, right? Yeah. The box office gross in the U.S. and Canada combined, U.S., Canada, and worldwide, because I guess it didn't get a wide release because they're the same, $18.6 million. Abysmal.
Jeez.
Opening weekend of 6.5.
Yeah.
In February though, back in 95, whenever this came out, February 12th, 1995, not a big movie time of year. Like we didn't have movies like we didn't have seasons of movies, but we definitely had like summer blockbusters and maybe holiday movies.
Yeah.
And then outside that, your movie's not really going to do much. You're not expecting much from it.
No. Wow. That's not what I expected from it. But we'll see how many people
like
listen
I said,
to this
there
and
was
know,
marketing galore for
the
this.
movie is. But yeah. What'd you think of it, though?
I enjoyed it. It was very much so. I mean, it's definitely not like a. It's gritty-ish. It's grounded-ish. It's definitely like a caricature of the time.
Yes.
But it's not very true to. It's true to Hollywood Old West. I would say it's very much. I will say the opening scene, the opening like couple minutes of it, it was very much so a love letter to golden Hollywood westerns and that time period. Absolutely, for sure. And watching that opening, I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, this is Sam Raimi saying. Touching on all of the westerns that he grew up with, loving to watch and enjoying and all that, and then you get those quick sweeping push-ins on people's faces and stuff like Sam Raimi does, and suddenly you're like, oh yeah, this is a Sam Raimi movie. I'm reminded that this is a Sam Raimi western, and it very much so is. And then the Sam Raimi style kind of works for a western. It gives it a little excitement in what would otherwise be kind of a stagnant, stale scene. But yeah, it brings a little, his flair brings a little excitement to the Western. This movie felt to me like, and this is one of the few notes that I put down for this, because this is a movie, I was sitting there watching it, and I actually sat there and watched
got into it
because I was kind of getting into it. And but this movie feels like, to me, the writers were sitting down in the room and said, you know what's the best part of a western is the duels. How can we make a movie that's just all duels? And that's kind of what they did.
That is. I felt like watching this. So, when I'm a kid, you watch things a lot differently, and I took everything as this is a very serious movie. But watching it again, the tone made me feel like they're really just kind of playing on a lot of old, like, American 1950s Western stereotypes, like you had Ace, and he's got the cards, and he's like, I put an ace in every time I kill a man, It's the barkeep that's just, I don't know. Everything, like, I'm watching it, and I'm almost to the point as an adult watching this, and I'm kind of laughing through it. And I don't necessarily say that as a negative, but it definitely carried a different tune with me than it did growing up. I found myself really caring about Russell Crowe's character.
And you get a little invested.
Yeah, Sharon Stone, her being the the lead of the movie, I didn't really feel like I really knew much about her in the movie. It was just kind of like, she's here, and we're going to throw Gary Sinise in as like a backstory, for her, and we really just need to get her here to have a reason to kill Gene Hackman's character. And that was
and her dad. Spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, Russell Crowe's character, I can't remember the names of these characters except for like Ace and Ace, really. But
and Ace. The kid.
Oh yeah, the kid.
Russell Crowe was Court.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it Ace or was he? Who was Doc? Somebody was Doc.
Doc. Wasn't he just like the doctor? Is that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He was because he was the guy from. Wasn't he the guy from
Home Alone? Yeah, he was the old creepy man.
Neighbor from Home Alone. Yeah,
that's like the only other thing I've seen him in other than Home Alone.
I was shocked to see it. He popped up and I was like, hey, this guy from Home Alone. He looks exactly the same. I guess it was shot around a couple years apart, but still. And, your barkeep, that's Pat Hingle, who was the Commissioner Gordon in Batman.
Oh, yep. Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was. And then the first person that you see in the movie is a Tobin Bell, who plays Jigsaw in the Saw movies.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he's looking so much younger, less grizzled.
Oh yeah.
He would have looked better now in that part.
Yes. Yeah. Man, but yeah, I don't know. I think it had a good kind of a nice round cast of just different kind of people that would be in this. But I'm watching it now, and I'm thinking like, surely, like having watched many other westerns since then, and kind of know I'm not an expert on history. I'm not whatever, but kind of having some sort of knowledge of the past now. And wouldn't you think that if Gene Hackman and his posse had strung up and killed a sheriff of a town,
the sheriff
that and are holding the town hostage now, basically they're strong arming everybody. You give us half of what you make, and we're going to get along just fine. You would think the United States Army would send somebody in to take care of this, right? I mean,
not back in the day.
You don't think so?
Sir. You're married to a history teacher. You're not.
I think they would
that
have.
Familiar with the American West? No,
I think they would have.
The American West was a lawless area. You can't. They couldn't. Everybody was assigned. What is it? So they couldn't send state troopers or anything out to deal with things. So you had a sheriff that essentially, martial law was essentially the rule of the land.
Right.
Nobody could, the government wasn't big enough to be able to go out there and take care of all these people. Plus, news travels so much slower than
Sure. But I mean, but
walk everything everywhere.
But with that being said, if we're going to go on that route, news travels slow, but I mean, 20 years slow. I don't know. I just feel like they would have at least sent in maybe they're not in Texas, but the marshals or something, or the Texas Rangers or something to come in there and just listen, we got to take care of this guy. I don't know.
I think as long as it's not affecting the government, they're just you know what? It's what we can't get out there. We'll let them sort it out. Worst case, some people die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got bigger things to settle.
Well, Maybe so. I don't know. Maybe I'm just romanticizing everything.
I think so. Well, I mean, I saw some things on the History Channel a while back, so my memory's a little foggy on them. But basically, the Old West was not what was depicted in Hollywood. It was a much tamer, calmer landscape. people weren't walking around with guns on their hips and things like that. Like that wasn't like the thing. People didn't have duels out in the street and all this other stuff. Like these were things that happened like maybe once or twice, but enough. They were spectacular enough that stories and lore got built around them, and you know, we have Hollywood romanticizing the Old West as they do, and I gotta say, I would rather live in Hollywood's Old West than the real Old West. Sounds a lot more fun because the real Old West, people didn't live very long, and they quite often contracted very not fun diseases.
Yes.
To take them out, and I would much rather live in Hollywood's Old West. It seems a lot more fun.
Yeah. So I'm watching this, and you know they're introducing this contest, and they show the jackpot. I don't know, it was like $100,000 or something like that, which is a lot today.
Yeah, it was like $200,000, which was a lot back then. That was
And I'm watching and I'm thinking, like, how does we've seen the cast of characters that are here in this town. How does anybody expect to get out of town with that much money with all these other people that are that are hanging out around there? I don't trust any of them. I don't know.
I think that the money was fronted by Gene Hackman's character.
Yeah,
right?
it was. Mm-hmm.
Like that, it was him putting it. He's rigging it to where he's going to win either way.
Yeah.
So he's not concerned about anybody walking away with it. I think it's more a game for him, an excuse for him to swagger a bit, if you will, back in the day. And he's not concerned about anybody walking away with that money. And if they did, get right. Somebody's going to take him out.
He's too fast.
Yeah, he's too fast. He's quick.
He's very quick. Did you notice? So when they're throwing names in the hat, to who's going to be doing this or whatever. The Virgil Sparks stands up. That's another name. One of the other characters I remember. He stands up and he's like, I'll do it. Before he does that, you're seeing Sharon Stone. She's just sitting back there watching. And Virgil Sparks is on a wanted poster behind her. And it says for rape and murder. Then he stands up and he's like, I don't know. Somebody may say his name, but anyway, he it's Virgil Sparks at that point, and then it goes back to her, and you see the poster again, and I don't know. I thought that was a fun little tidbit, I guess.
I missed that. I missed that completely. Yeah. Huh. Was that the guy that was harassing the girl, the bartender's daughter?
No.
And then she ended up
that guy was
taking
him
out?
Oh my gosh. That guy was like... Oh my gosh.
They took all the creep and just rolled it right into that guy.
That guy did a good job. I don't know who he is. Yes. He did. I didn't read his name in the credits, but he did a great job being a creep there. No, Virgil was playing poker, I think, or something. It wasn't Ace. I don't think
he must have got taken out. Just like
I think it was like the first day
sequence.
It was like one of the first days that he got taken out or something like that. And I mean, the contest really doesn't last that long, right? It's like 8 people down to 4, then 2 or something, or was it 16?
I think it must have been like 16. Yeah. I think it was like 16. I don't know. They don't.
Then 8, then 4, then 2.
I'd sit there and try and look up the board somewhere, but I wouldn't even know where to begin. But yeah, like I think it had to have been at least 16. Would be my or not at least. I'm betting it's 16. That's a pretty standard bracket. Yeah. Like that's a low bracket number, but that's a pretty standard one. And then you're right. Then you go to 8, and then you go to 4, and then you go to 2, and then you go to 1.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know if they went down to 2 and they went. I think they went to 4 and then they went to 3.
They went to 4, and it was Kid and Gene Hackman and kid shoots him in the neck but doesn't kill him, and then Gene Hackman actually shoots him, and he's like, oh, I don't want to die, and he's crying. I'm like, I don't know, you're Leonardo DiCaprio, and you're young, and you're crying, and that's
you got your whole future ready, buddy.
and that girl that's with him, like that's his fiance or something, she's holding him and crying, and I'm thinking like, how can you even care about this guy? Because like he's loving and kissing on Sharon Stone this whole time, right. And then he turns and he wins a fight, and then he kisses you, and like I think that he like spent the night with Sharon Stone on top of the dynamite or something like earlier, and I'm like, what is this? Like this, I guess there's just not very many options in town, and she just
if you can be with the winner,
that's
be with
right.
The winner,
Well,
right?
He wasn't a winner, but
I mean, he was up till that point. And then they had to make it a death or whatever.
Yeah,
to the victor,
a meaningful death or something. But yeah. So it was those two, and then Sharon Stone and Russell Crowe had to go off against each other, and then it was down to Russell Crowe and Gene Hackman, and then all the buildings started blowing up. And I'm like, how?
That's right.
How did they load all this dynamite in Gene Hackman's house without him knowing about it? Like,
he sleeps pretty hard, I guess.
How did they put it in? Like, they're blowing up all these buildings, these innocent people, like their livelihoods, and they're just destroying it.
And there's probably people in there, because there's somebody that's like, I don't want to see the duel. Yeah. I'm just going to hang out at home.
I'm going to stay here and take care of the grocery store here while my husband's watching the gunfight or something. And I'm like, how is this happening?
Hollywood.
Yeah,
that whole town is fried. Like there's nothing left by the end, really. No,
she got her man, but she destroyed the entire town.
Well, she's a superhero, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
This is an Old West superhero.
That's right.
Save the day, but destroy the town.
Yes. And then people, like earlier in the movie, they're firing. I mean, multiple times they're firing guns in the air, right? Boom, boom. And I'm thinking, like, there's some honest, hardworking farrier somewhere, like in the town, and he's just working on a horse, working on the shoes, and a falling bullet just hits him, and because you got these idiots out there shooting.
Or a farmer gets up the next morning to go check on his livestock, and he's like, how are two of my cows dead? Who's shooting my cows?
Yeah. And then who are these fools that are standing behind the contestants?
I always wondered that in these duels. Like, I think it was Back to the Future 3, whenever they're having their duel, and I'm like, there's people like that are behind them almost, and both of them just like all over the place, and then even on the sides, like standing like 6 feet away from him, like if that bullet hits a piece of metal and ricochets, it's going to hit one of them. I guess it wasn't a concern.
Got a lot of faith
back then,
in these people.
Yeah. I'm with you. I always think that whenever I see these, because there's always people, like you said, standing behind them, like, or and you'll see some movies where they surround the hero, and they're around him, and like there's like 10 people around him in just every direction, and they all just open fire on the guy, and I'm like, how are you not hitting each other? Like, they are not all these bullets are not landing center mass and staying in the body. Like, there's some that are going through or are completely missing because you got recoil and all that other stuff, so you can't be a perfect shot every single time, especially if you're firing an automatic weapon. Come on. Yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Who was your favorite duelist?
I think well, I gotta say Court probably was the favorite. Like, he's the hero. Other than Ellen, Sharon Stone's character, he's probably the hero of the show. And so probably my favorite. But outside of him, I was pleasantly surprised to see Mark Boone Jr. in the movie. He plays Scars. He was
yeah.
also in Sons of Anarchy and like
he was.
a bunch of other
Yeah,
stuff too.
I forgot about that. Oh, man, we'll have to talk about that again.
So every time I see him, like it's just like
Sons.
Sons. And I think he was. No, was he? Was he also the brother in Something About Mary?
I don't remember.
Or was that somebody else? Maybe I think that was somebody else. I don't think that was him. But yeah, like seeing him and it was pretty neat. You know, like he's always one of those character actors that whenever I see him, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this will be fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
I liked when he was when he died. They're like, because they're like pulling stuff off everybody. Like these people like they have no morals. They're just pulling jewelry and everything off people. And they're pulling his boots and everything off, and like, God, he stinks. They're like pulling him away.
Yeah, because he was the convict.
Yeah, we got to bury him deep.
So, who was your favorite fighter?
It was probably, he didn't last long, but it was probably Ace.
Okay.
Or Spade, not Ace. It was Spade. That was his name.
Spade.
Yeah, because when they were putting their names on the board, the barkeep drew a spade for the guys for his name.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that actor's name, but he's Bishop in the Alien movies, and he's just he's great.
Lance Harness. I can't pronounce his last name. Henriksen. Lance Henriksen. My dyslexia is kicking in hard. Lance Henriksen. Sorry. I was trying to read fine print and it was just throwing me. Yeah. Yes, so that's the man. Yeah. He was actually credited as Ace.
As Ace. It was Ace then. It wasn't Spade.
Ace Hanlon.
Okay.
Hanlon.
Okay. So it was Ace. I was right the first time.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I liked him.
Well, it was probably Ace of Spades.
Yes. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah.
Because all the cards when he fanned them out and he's like, I kill a man. I think they were all aces of spades.
I think that's why I like him so much. Like, of all the caricatures that they have of people, like, he is the most, like, stereotypical gunfighter. Yes. And he's got the...
Down to the hair.
Got the hair. He's got all the leather, like, stuff on.
Yep.
And he's...
Fringe.
Yes. And you find out... Oh, he's even got the mustache, and the facial hair.
Yes.
And you find out, like, he has just been spinning webs this whole time. Like, he's talking about all this stuff, and then Gene Hackman's talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I know that wasn't you because that was me that killed all those men. And then he's like, what? and then, of course, he just blows him away. But, yeah, I liked him. I liked him quite a bit. I was sad to see him go.
Was that the first round or the second round?
It was like the first round.
Did he make it through the first?
I think it was the first round. Because I think Gene Hackman picked him. Because they all got to choose who they...
Yeah, they got to choose.
No,
because I thought... Because she was going to pick him to start. But then she got interrupted and... I thought somebody else picked him the first round, and then he picked Ace the second round.
Maybe so. That could be. Yeah.
I can't remember all the people that were in it, but
yeah, it's hard to remember all.
That's my thought.
Because, like you were saying, there's a lot of them that they go quick. Like they're just
yes.
They had a handful of ones that they actually kind of followed a little bit, and then there was some that were just there and gone. The Native American guy interested me. Like, I wanted to know more about him. Like, he'd been shot a ton. He's like, no bullet can kill me, And then he gets shot in the head, and he's still moving.
That's the only I
mean, he eventually dies.
It took a lot to take him down, for sure. Yeah. I'm with you. I would have liked to seen him a little bit more. A little bit more from him would have been nice. Yes, for sure. I'm stuck on the bracket trying think
Trying to
through
look
who was
through,
wearing.
yeah.
It's driving me crazy. Yeah, it's like I just watched the movie. How can I not remember this? But,
Well,
it, like I said, it just all happened so
yeah, it
fast.
does. The movie's really not that long. Like, I remember it being longer, and I think it only has like an hour and 29-minute runtime or something like that, I think. It's not that... Maybe I'm wrong. It didn't seem like it was that long watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, one part that I watched that I laughed out loud was, it was at the end. It was the final duel. And, you know, they share, was it Ellen was her name or whatever?
Yeah. Ellie or something like that.
She shoots Gene Hackman. He shoots her. And then, like, when he looks down and there's the hole in his shadow.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what?
That was great.
I'm like, oh, man, this is Sam Raimi. And then...
Yes. That and then whenever he shot Sergeant in the head, and it was like that big hole in his head.
Yes.
I was like, what bullet did he use to do that?
And then, but the part that really got me laughing was when she delivers the final blow. She shoots him, and you follow the bullet.
Oh, and he goes flying.
And you can hear him screaming. Like, he has time to scream as the bullet's coming to his head. And then he does. He like goes flying, and just
He's just like he like it hit him. He went flying back, did a backflip, and then like landed like. It took him at least 20 feet.
Yeah.
Like, it lifted him off the ground and then threw him. Of all the times I've ever seen somebody shot in a movie, that was probably the most ridiculous impact I've ever seen. Yep. I can't think of a time other than like a comedy where somebody was shot and it was just like that was pretty over the top.
I felt like that like
sure.
at that point, it kind of turned into a comedy.
It earned it.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say it earned it. But
it definitely, like, as the movie started on a very serious tone. And it definitely, like, it baby stepped you up to that point where you're like, this fits within the movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
so.
it is. Yeah. No. I'm not going to sit here and say that I enjoyed the movie as much as I did as a kid. I don't think I did. Like, I had fun watching it again. I may not ever watch it again. I don't know. But, like, it was... I don't know. It was fun. It was fun to watch. I'm glad we kind of went over it and, went through it and everything.
It definitely made me want to watch another Western, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think we'll have another Western after the first year. We'll definitely probably hit a couple of Westerns.
Yeah. I just thought it there was some spots in it that watching it as an adult kind of just fell flat with me. It was like, especially it was the story and like how they made Sharon Stone up to be like, I mean, she was the headliner of the movie, really. And then like there's not really much substance there, I didn't feel like. Gene Hackman was a really interesting character. He was a good villain. I thought he did a great job in the movie.
I mean, he was kind of doing just Gene Hackman.
He was.
Like,
and that's the thing, though. Gene Hackman plays Gene Hackman, and he does a good job at it.
Plays him well.
He does.
Absolutely.
Yep. And I like watching stuff with Gene Hackman, and I'll watch pretty much anything he's in. I enjoy him in it. But, and it was fun to watch. I'd forgotten Russell Crowe was in this movie. It was fun to watch him again in it. A young Russell Crowe. I mean, I haven't really enjoyed a lot of the stuff he's been in, the last couple of years, but
no, he was good in Thor. Did you see him in Thor?
That's right. He did play Zeus in Thor. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I felt like whenever I saw him do that, there, like, around whatever that is, I was like, oh, okay, I see Russell Crowe again in a different light. I feel like he's kind of different era, if you will, in his film career, and I feel like he's in that. Like, I feel like there was a period, probably from here around this time through Gladiator, and maybe just past that. Beautiful Mind was probably around the end.
Cinderella
of it.
Man, I think, because that came out a little bit after Beautiful Mind. But anyway, which underrated movie.
Yeah.
It was a great movie.
that's like his golden era, if you will. And then after that, he fell off a bit. And he did like 310 to Yuma. That was kind of, I enjoyed that a little bit, but I think that was around the same time. But then, like he definitely like fell off a bit, and but I feel like he might be coming back a little bit in a different capacity as like an older actor. I feel like he's entered that like elder statesman stage, if you will. And I want to see that of his.
I like a good Russell Crowe movie. I think he does a good job, and a lot of those movies that you just said, like he's excellent in them. But,
yeah. So,
you have any final thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I think this was, like I said, I watched this probably once. Maybe not when it came out, but within a year or two on like HBO or Showtime or whatever it was probably running on at the time. I don't remember much of it. I remember wanting to see it at the time because there was so much publicity push behind it, and I eventually got around to seeing it. Like it was one of those things where it was like, oh yeah, this movie, I forgot about it. I'm gonna go and watch it, and watched it, and I guess it was okay at the time, but I don't remember much of it from that time. Maybe I was doing something else I don't remember because it wasn't that memorable at the time. But watching again, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but like you said, I probably won't be going back to watch it anytime soon. But I could maybe see, probably not. I don't know. Maybe pulling a meme out of it somewhere. That's about the extent of me returning to it. I think I can see.
Yeah. About the same way. All right. I don't know if I need to watch it again, but I'm glad it was fun to go back to. So it is not near the area of The Mask. So I'll say that.
No, that's true. And it definitely made me want to watch more. Wanted to go back and watch some westerns again, if you will.
Yeah, I do love a good western. Really good western.
I haven't gotten a good western in a while. My wife doesn't really like them, so it's kind of like I have to watch it on my own type of thing.
Yeah, and it's just not something like westerns aren't something that like Hollywood's really making a lot of anymore. It seems like when they do make them, like they're few and far between. They're usually pretty good, but I don't know.
Well, I feel like Hollywood. Premium Hollywood maybe isn't making them as much, and whenever they do, it's definitely they're bringing star power to it. Somebody's wanting to flex some muscle or something, but I feel like there's probably a decent amount of like sub Hollywood, lower Hollywood, like lower budget films that are being made around it, because you get more character driven storylines now from the westerns that I see coming out. It's more about like what's this character going through and struggling, and then this time period just happens to be where they shoot it because it makes it easier for reasons X, Y, or Z. And but we want to focus more on this development, this particular character arc, whatever that happens to be. But you could really take that and put it in any time period. They just put it in the West because choices. The actor wants to do a Western, or the director's like, hey, you know what? We should probably do this as a Western or budgetary or whatever the case may be. But like those premium ones, fewer and far between, but they're definitely like they put the star power behind it, and they make it like the last one I remember seeing come out that had a lot of, I don't know, buzz around it, or that I really wanted to see. I haven't seen it yet either, and it kind of kills me. Hell or High Water, I heard was really good, and I just haven't seen it yet, and that might be one I go out and see. I might go watch that next, because, like I said, this has got me in the mood for a Western.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's got what is it, Chris Pine and what's his name? He played Angel in the first X-Men movies. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember who that is now.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So, shall we move on to our cold open question?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that.
Let's do that
so
now.
What's your favorite Western?
Favorite Western. Okay, so I've put this in the back of my mind, and I've kind of given it some thought. First of all, there are a good number of good Westerns that I just haven't seen.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like old classic Clint Eastwoods, or especially like your really old ones. I haven't seen those. That being said, like ones from the 90s would probably be the ones I've seen, but I haven't seen in a very long time. Like Tombstone, it definitely ranks up there as one of my tops. Back in the day, in the late 90s, early 2000s, one movie that I absolutely loved seeing and watched it over and over, and I would argue to say is probably my favorite country movie is Maverick. With Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I always loved that movie. It was so much fun, and that was probably one of my favorite Westerns to watch, because it wasn't like it was kind of like this one where it's not like a hard and fast Western, I mean, it's kind of it's I guess it's a little more Western than this one was, but yeah, like it wasn't as serious, and I just enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun, and I always like Mel. He's funny and has fun with the characters and everything like that. But yeah, I'd probably say that just off the top of my head, that's the one that comes to mind the most, for sure. I enjoy it. How about you?
So it's initially, I when I was thinking about this question, my answer was going to be Unforgiven, with
it's a good one.
Clint Eastwood,
but again, I
Morgan Freeman, and really good. But then after I asked you the question at the beginning of this episode, it dawned on me, the one that I've watched the most and I can watch any time as long as I have the time is Dances with Wolves.
Three Amigos?
Yeah, Three Amigos.
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves is just, I don't know. To me, that is just, it's so good, and I enjoy it thoroughly every time I watch it. It's so long. You've got to have the time.
All right, put it on the list. I have not seen it.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
I have not seen
it.
I've probably seen little bits and pieces here and there, but I've never actually sat down and watched it.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love it. And, you know.
I hear it's great.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I love me some Kevin Costner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So.
Although, have you watched Yellowstone?
I've watched a couple episodes of that. My wife watched through it quite a bit, or she watched through the whole. Everything is out right now. She watched through it.
Yeah,
and I've heard that's really good. She really enjoyed it. And the few episodes that I watched here and there were like I'd come in and like lay down in bed and go to sleep, and she'd be watching it, and I thought it was interesting. I bet. Anyway,
it's a good like modern Western.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this kind of brings up we're going to transition here. I think we're going to change things up a little bit. So we used to, for a while now, I don't say used to, because in the beginning we didn't have them, but for a long time now, we've been doing these cold open or icebreaker questions where we start out the episode, we ask a question, and we let that question linger while we go through our normal episode, and then at the end we come in and answer said question. It's all self-contained. It's nice and neat. I think we're going to start doing our icebreaker question at the end of the episode and then answering it at the beginning of the next episode. And then that gives us time to kind of think about the question and really give a good answer. Because like with this one, I would have liked to have given it a little more thought, personally. And then, like you said, Dances with Wolves didn't come to your mind until more recently. Plus, I feel like the person asking the question is at a bit of an advantage, whereas they've been thinking about the question all week already, and the other person doesn't know until the moment of. And I feel like I'm caught off guard a lot of times, and I don't get to give I think about the question throughout the week later, and I'm like, oh, I would have given this answer, or this would have been a much better answer, or this is really how I feel, or I didn't get to think it through. I'm on the spot. I'm not great on the spot, as you can tell.
Same.
So yeah, I think we'll start by ending the episode with the icebreaker, the question, which will actually be a teaser, because we're not going to tell you what the next episode is anymore. It's going to be a teaser for what the next episode is, and then at the next episode, we'll start off by answering said icebreaker and revealing what the episode is. Well, with that, do you have any final thoughts before I give mine? Icebreaker for the next episode?
Before you do that, we did have a comment I wanted to read over fast. This is on our Metal Gear Solid episode we did
Great one.
a while back, I guess, at this point. But, that game is... it's so good.
So much fun.
It's so good, and we're going to have to get the sequels, get some episodes
We're
done
doing
for
two
the sequels.
soon.
Yes. So this one was by our number one fan, Will Ford 81. He said, now this is...
What's up, Will?
Yeah, hey, Will, man. He said, I recently played through Metal Gear Solid 1 based on your podcast recommendation. We love to hear that. I picked up the collection on Switch, which, Derek, I believe is how you played it.
It's a good way to play it.
I played on the go and everything. Gotta say, there was a bit of a learning curve for me with the game. It took me a while, along with many, many deaths, to figure out exactly how this game wanted me to play it. I'm sure it took me an hour or two just to get through the first area. I understand that. Once I realized the guards didn't possess the AI that I'm used to in more modern games, they moved on rails and could only see about 10 feet in front of them, things began to go more smoothly for me. I did appreciate the visual variety that the isometric perspective used in this game offers, but it also made things very difficult at times. Trying to aim and shoot at enemies that are off screen was frustrating. An example was he gave the boss fight with Ocelot. He said, maybe I just stink at the game, but I found myself longing for the over-the-shoulder third-person perspective from Splinter Cell. Well, stick around for Metal Gear Solid 2, and you might have a little time with that, Will. That would have been a helpful alternative to the first-person but can't move option Metal Gear 1 offers. That being said, I love the use of music and the cinematics in the game. The way the opening credits run as you start playing is really cool touch. There was some really inventive ideas in this game as well, like holding a rumbling controller to your arm to feel medicine being released into your body. Wow, he says. Though I am terrible at button mashing, I really like that there was an option to give up rather than keep enduring the pain. It took me many tries, but I finally double-tapped A fast enough to save Meryl. Had I realized that giving up would allow me to still continue the game, I would have let that chick die. I pretended that Snake ended up with Mei Ling. He could lead the sled dogs while she shares with him her favorite Chinese proverbs. I like the variety of boss fights as well. I might have picked Sniper Wolf Part 2 as my favorite, but I just found the aiming to be too jittery, even with diazepam between every shot. I think I enjoyed the helicopter pad with Liquid the most. That was a good one. Rappelling down the building and then using the missile launcher was loads of fun. Fighting Metal Gear was frustrating, but the Jeep chase and first fight at the end were pretty great as well. I disagree with you, Will. I hated that Jeep chase so much. I had to play through it so many times. I just about gave up on it and then finally beat it. Overall, I found Metal Gear Solid 1 to be a very good game, and I'm glad I played it. Thanks for the recommendation, guys. I will have to play 2 and 3 at some point. I'm finishing Zelda Echoes of Wisdom at the moment. So, that was a good long... I love your explanation, though.
Yes.
I love that you, Will, picked the game up because we talked about it. That's
Yes,
that's great.
That's what we're aiming for.
Yes. This
more exposure to our favorite things,
stuff that we talk about, we love, we have loved, and we would love for more people to enjoy that stuff with us. So,
absolutely.
If you've got anything you want to say to us, any comments or anything, let us know in the comments section on YouTube, and we're pretty good at responding, and we just love to hear what you think about the things we enjoy. So hopefully you enjoy them too.
Yeah. I got to address Will, because, and everybody that's listening, I agree. The controls on it, if you aren't picking this game up in the mid 90s when it came out, or I think it was late, I think it was like 98 when it came out. If you're not picking this game up in 98 whenever it came out, and you're used to playing games after, say, Halo, with that type of movement in first-person shooters and controlling, this is rough. Like it's a little hard to. It's jarring for sure. That being said, though, once you kind of lean into it and you get used to it, it becomes second nature, and they move around pretty easily, and it works, especially for that isometric view. The aiming thing, like you can't aim at the enemies, but you don't have to, because he has auto aim.
Yes,
he'll automatically aim at an enemy that's close enough, and oftentimes, like he said, they're on rails, so you find that the best way to take them out is to hide behind a corner that you know they're going to come around, sight your gun on that corner, and you'll see it start to move when he picks up that auto aim. And as soon as they're clear of that corner, you take your shot and you're good to go. That's at least, how I always take them down. I find that's the most effective, or sneak up behind them and choke them out, or shoot them if you're quick enough.
I always play these games because they are stealth action games. I mean, they're branded stealth action. I love a good stealth game. Like he was talking about Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
I love all the Splinter Cell games. I wish they would reinvigorate that franchise and release some new installments in it. Love stealth games a lot. I play this as stealthily as I can. Like, there's points where you have to just start mowing down enemies because that's what the game is forcing you into. But if I can avoid it, I will wait and wait and wait until I have an opening just to get around them and move on. I just love that. I love having the option to do that, and any games that allow me to play stealth, even if it's not like a quote stealth game, if they give you different options, different ways to approach situations, I almost always go stealth over guns blazing, because I love sneaking around and trying to
it's challenging. You feel accomplished.
And I love trying to go non-lethal on things if I can do it. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought.
You're fine.
Yeah.
No, I just have one more, and that is after reading his comment, I have to change my answer to your question from back in the episode of what was your favorite boss battle. I forgot about that. I went back and I finished the game after we finished the episode, and I had this thought, and then I read his comment, and it came back again, and I gotta say, my favorite battle is that helicopter battle on the rooftop with that heat-seeking missile thing. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. That was probably my favorite boss battle. So I'm gonna put a amendment in on my answer and say that's my favorite boss battle for Metal Gear. But that was a long comment. It was a great comment. I thoroughly enjoyed the detail that he provided, and I'm glad we got to talk about it again. I feel like we need to almost do these as two-parters, where we do the main episode and then we break for a week, and then gives us a chance to really think about what the other person said and come back and give a good answer. Because I feel like there's a lot of time we're just going to have to revisit some things, because there's a lot of things where especially this Metal Gear, I think in a couple of years we'll have to revisit it, because I have thoughts that came back up afterwards, and I don't want to burn them on another episode. Right. So I think we will revisit some things as we go through that merit revisiting. Not everything, The Mask, but Some things will be
we'll never touch on. We will. That'll be a running joke for as long as this show continues.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which,
with that said,
real quick, I'm so sorry. I just got to tell you, I was over at our dad's house the other day, and I found a VHS copy of The Mask.
Nice. Does it have the sleeve?
It
and
didn't have the
everything
sleeve. It's just the naked VHS, but it says The Mask on it. So.
An actual VHS or like
an actual, not like a
HBO recording?
No. It's got the Mask label, Jim Carrey on there.
So. All right, excellent. I wonder what happened to the case for it.
No idea.
That's a bummer.
No idea.
That bummed me out. It's a Mask, I guess I'll let it go. Well, I gotta. Before we get into it, let me drop this out there because we are getting close to the end of this, and I don't want to let anybody miss out on it. But if you love this podcast takes tokens, get a free sticker. Show your love for the podcast and be one of the first 50 to snag an exclusive sticker. Here's how. Look, I'm going to open this up. Tune in to any episode of this podcast takes tokens, and leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts, or if you leave a comment, a nice good comment like Will left here on one of our episodes over on YouTube, and screen capture that. Send us an email with your mailing address to thispodcasttakestokens@gmail.com. We will send you a sticker absolutely free for each unique Apple podcast review or individual episode comments. Not multiple comments on a single episode, but comments across different. For each episode that you leave a comment on, I should say. I'll send you a sticker up to 5. Because we only have 5 different ones. This offer is good through the end of the year. That's December 31st, 2024. So email us as soon as you can to make sure you get credit, and we'll send you out a sticker. Like I said, there are 5 of them. You leave 5 good comments across 5 of our videos and send us an email and claim those comments. I'll send you 5 stickers. But yeah, we're looking forward to reading your comments and more. Apple Podcast reviews too would be great. Yes. Really supports the podcast, and we really appreciate it. But with that being said, let me give you my cold open question for the next episode, and we'll tease it up. So, what's the worst thing that's happened when traveling to, from, or on a vacation? We'll answer that when we come back. So until next week, be kind, rewind, and we'll see you all around.
We'll see you then. This podcast takes tokens is a Clay Street production.